Module 5, Monitor and Maintain Azure Resources, covers 10 to 15% of your AZ-104 exam. That means up to 8 questions determining if you pass or fail. In the next 10 minutes, I'll show you the exact monitoring scenarios Microsoft tests, the common mistakes that cost candidates points, and the memory tricks that helped thousands pass on their first attempt. If you skip this module, you're gambling with 15% of your certification. You have an Azure subscription that contains a virtual machine named VM1. To VM1, you plan to add a 1 terabyte data disk that meets the following requirements: provides data resiliency in the event of a data center outage, provides the lowest latency and the highest performance, ensures that no data loss occurs if a host fails. Which host caching would you recommend? The options are A, none; B, read only; C, read write. This question is asking you to pick the right caching option for a data disk that needs to be fast, reliable, and safe from data loss. You need to think about what happens when data is read or written and how caching impacts both performance and data safety. The correct answer is B, read only. Read-only caching gives you the best of both worlds for data disks. It delivers super fast reads because data is pulled from the VM's local memory and SSD cache instead of the slower Azure Blob storage. At the same time, all writes go directly to the persistent disk, not cached, so if a host fails, there's no risk of losing uncommitted data sitting in cache. Why not none? You'd lose the performance boost from cached reads, which defeats the lowest latency and highest performance requirement. Why not read-write? This caches writes too, which can cause data loss if the host crashes before cached writes are flushed to disk. Azure doesn't guarantee data consistency with read-write caching for most workloads. Quick memory tips. Read-only equals read fast, write safe. Reads are lightning quick from cache, but writes always go straight to the durable disk. Remember, data disks love read-only, especially for databases, while log files prefer none because they're write-heavy. Think, read-write is risky. If the cache crashes, your recent writes vanish. You have an Azure subscription named Subscription 1 that is used by several departments at your company. Subscription 1 contains the resources in the following table. Another administrator deploys a virtual machine named VM1 and an Azure storage account named Storage 2 by using a single Azure Resource Manager template. You need to view the template used for the deployment. From which blade can you view the template that was used for the deployment? The options are A, Container 1, B, RG1, C, Storage 1, D, VM1. This question is asking where you go in the Azure portal to find the ARM template that was used to deploy VM1 and Storage 2. Think about where Azure stores deployment history and template information. It's tied to a specific scope or container in Azure. The correct answer is B, RG1. Azure Resource Manager stores deployment history at the resource group level. So you need to go to the RG1 blade and click on Deployments to see all the templates used for deployments in that resource group. When you open the Deployments section, you'll see a list of all deployment operations, and you can click on any deployment to view the exact ARM template, parameters, and outputs that were used. Why not Container 1? Blob containers are just storage locations for files. They don't track ARM deployments or templates. Why not Storage 1 or VM1? Individual resources don't have deployment history. That information lives at the resource group or subscription level where the deployment was executed. Quick memory tips. Resource group equals receipt keeper. Deployment templates are always stored at the resource group level, not in individual resources. Remember, RG, Deployments Blade, View Template. That's your 3-step path to find any ARM template used in the past. Think, individual resources are like products. The resource group is like the shopping cart that remembers what was ordered and how. You have a Microsoft Entra tenant named Contoso.com. You have 2 external partner organizations named Fabricom.com and LitwareInc.com. Fabricom.com is configured as a connected organization. You create an access package as shown in the Access Package exhibit. You configure the external user lifecycle settings as shown in the Lifecycle exhibit. For the following statement, select yes if the statement is true. Otherwise, select no. After 365 days, Fabricam.com users will be removed from Group 1. The options are A, yes; B, no. This question tests whether you understand how Microsoft Entra Entitlement Management handles external users when their Access Package assignments expire. You need to connect the dots between the Access Package expiration, 365 days, and what happens to group memberships when external users lose their assignments. The correct answer is A. Yes, when the Access Package assignment expires after 365 days, Entitlement Management automatically removes all access associated with that Access Package, including the membership in Group 1 that was granted through the package. The Lifecycle exhibit shows the external user will be removed from the directory after 30 days, since Remove External User is set to Yes with 30 days. But before that happens, they'll already lose their Group 1 membership when the 365-day assignment expires. This is how Microsoft Entra Entitlement Management prevents external users from keeping access beyond what was granted. When their assignment ends, all resource access ends too. Why it's yes. The Access Package controls Group 1 membership, so when the 365-day assignment expires, Fabricam.com users automatically lose access to Group 1 regardless of the 30-day account deletion timeline. Quick memory tips. Package expires equals access expires. When an Access Package assignment ends, all resources in that package, groups, apps, roles, are automatically removed. Remember, 365 days removes access, 30 days removes account. Two separate timelines, but access goes first. Think. Access packages are like bundles. When the bundle expires, everything inside it gets taken away automatically, no exceptions. If this video is helping you, support us by hitting the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. You have a Microsoft Entra tenant named Contoso.com. You have two external partner organizations named Fabricam.com and LitwareInc.com. Fabricam.com is configured as a connected organization. You create an access package as shown in the Access Package exhibit. You configure the external user lifecycle settings as shown in the lifecycle exhibit. For the following statement, select Yes if the statement is true. Otherwise, select No. After 395 days, Fabricam.com users will be removed from the Contoso.com tenant. The options are A, yes, B, no. This question is testing your math skills combined with understanding the lifecycle workflow for external users in Microsoft Entra Entitlement Management. You need to calculate the total timeline. When does the Access Package expire? And then how many days later does the user get deleted from the tenant? The correct answer is A, yes. The Access Package assignment expires after 365 days, which means Fabricam.com users lose their access to all resources in the package at that point. After losing their last Access Package assignment, the lifecycle settings kick in. The user is blocked from signing in, and then after 30 days, their guest user account is completely removed from the Contoso.com tenant. So the math is simple. 365 days, access expires, plus 30 days, removal delay, equals 395 days total when the user is deleted from the tenant. Why it's yes. The lifecycle exhibit clearly shows remove external user yes, and number of days before removing 30, which means exactly 30 days after the 365-day access package expires, the account gets deleted. Quick memory tips. 365 plus 30 equals goodbye. Access package expiration, 365 plus removal delay 30 equals total days until deletion, 395. Remember, two timelines, one outcome. First, you lose access. Then 30 days later, you lose your account entirely. Think, it's like getting fired, 365 days, and then your security badge stops working 30 days later, 395 days. Two separate events on a timeline. You have an Azure subscription that contains a resource group named RG26. RG26 is set to the West Europe location and is used to create temporary resources for a project. RG26 contains the resources shown in the following table. SQLDB01 is backed up to RGV1. When the project is complete, you attempt to delete RG26 from the Azure portal. The deletion fails. You need to delete RG26. What should you do first? The options are A, delete VM1, B, delete SA001, C, stop the backup of SQLDB01, D, stop VM1. This question is testing whether you understand dependencies between resource groups in Azure, especially when backups are involved. The key clue is that SQLDB01 is backed up to RGV1, a recovery services vault in North Europe, but you're trying to delete RG26 in West Europe. There's a cross-region dependency here. The correct answer is C. Stop the backup of SQLDB01, Azure Recovery Services vaults create dependencies on the resources they protect. And you cannot delete a resource group that contains resources with active backup policies. The vault holds a reference to those resources. Before you can delete RG26, you must first stop the backup protection for SQLDB01 and delete the backup data from RGV1, which removes the dependency between the vault and the database. Why not delete VM1 or stop VM1? Virtual machines don't have dependencies that prevent resource group deletion unless they're protected by a vault, which isn't mentioned here. Why not delete SAO01? Storage accounts also don't block resource group deletion by themselves. The backup dependency is the blocker. Quick memory tips. Backup its blocker. Resources with active backup policies in recovery services vaults create dependencies that prevent deletion. Remember, stop backup first, delete resources second. Always break the vault dependency before attempting to delete protected resources. Think, it's like trying to cancel your phone plan while you still have devices on payment. You have to stop the service agreement first before you can close the account. To get the free PDF or mock test, comment PDF or mock or both. I will share the downloadable link within the next 24 hours.